Do you ever feel like you can never do enough? Whether you own a company, whether you're a very important person in a company, whether it's for your spouse or just people in your family, you always feel like you're not enough and you're not doing enough. Well, regardless of how much money you have, regardless of how little money you have, this problem affects everybody. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what drives this and what you can do about it. Now, when we look at this issue, a lot of people who run businesses, who are in sales, or have a prestigious position is typically who I work with. And these guys are like going all the time. They feel like they can't stop. They feel like and they won't stop. And they feel like if they slow down, something bad's going to happen. If they slow down, then they're not worthy. They need to get to the next level or else fill in the blank. Now, it is super important to grow and to not shame ourselves and feel like, why am I never unsatisfied or unsatiated? It's like that's literally wired. I don't know about a female. I'm not a woman. But I know for the male brain, Freud tends to agree with me. Some of the biggest names tend to agree with this point as well. Humans are always aspiring for more to live up to their greatest potential. So there's always this hunger in us. If it's not dismantled at a young age, there's this hunger within us that always wants more. And I think that's healthy. That's growth, spiritual, physical, whatever it is. But then you have another issue where it's an inferiority complex. You think you need to prove yourself to others. You need to show that you're worthy. You need to show that you're not bad or worthless. And most importantly, show that you're not a failure. Now, when we look at these, depending on what programming is structured underneath, if it's structured with fear, then you're probably operating from a place of something bad's going to happen. If I don't take, care of this, I'm not going to be okay. And you're operating from there. If you're operating from feeling a failure, that's probably driven from childhood, from being criticized by. Usually when you're operating from I'm not going to be enough, it's usually a father wound, which drives that. So you're like, I'm not going to be enough to please my father, or he's always criticizing me, or I'm not enough, or I'm a disappointment, whatever it is, right? You're just not enough to warrant a validating and a loving and a approving response of me. You always have to do better. This was something that drove me as well. I used to always feel like a failure. I would always zoom out of my successes, and I'd always look at my failures, and then I would judge myself by my failures. I had this whole list of freaking successes, but I would never look at them. I was just so focused on my failures because that's what was focused on as a child. Like, you got an A, why isn't it an A plus? And just things of that nature. So that's gonna drive us to feel like we're not enough, to feel like we're a failure. And then this also going to create a need to do more and always chase other people's validation and try and prove other people that they're wrong. Now, this is all driven by your identity and your self-image, and the unconscious mechanism is what's underneath these things and the beliefs. Now, if you want to experience how we can dissolve that identity for yourself, then you can message me on IG or Facebook, same at HADI_CEE, and we'll help you out there. But as far as these identities, you need to deconstruct them from an emotional level, which obviously we're not going to do here. But I will tell you the structure of it, which should be very helpful, and you might not, it might crack it for you without me. You might be able to do it on your own. So that's the information I'm going to be giving you. Now, what you need to understand with the whole failure part, it's like, are you really a failure for not succeeding the first time? Because that's essentially what you're judging yourself by. You're saying, I'm a failure if X, Y, and Z aren't met. Were you being criticized fairly? Were your successes acknowledged as much as your failures? So you need to address those issues. As far as the not feeling like you're enough, is that totally true? Or were your parents not enough for you to feel like you're enough? Or whatever caregiver instilled that belief. And to be fair, it's also the society that we grew up in. It's a very like competition based society, like what can you provide me type of society. So when you look at all of these things together, you're driven by these identity. You're telling yourself, like, these programs define the way you think about yourself, and these thoughts generate your behavior. They cause imposter syndrome, abandonment, whatever it is, right? Shame, guilt. Like, you're experiencing all these things because you're operating from these identities. So what you need to do is change these identities, whatever's underneath it, and as a consequence, you'll let go of these thoughts. These thoughts will be replaced by empowering thoughts, and then as a consequence, your behaviors will change and your life starts to change as a consequence. So everything starts from the identity. Once you change the identity, your entire life will change. So I hope this video was helpful. And I got another sweet video somewhere here on the screen. You can go ahead and watch that. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this.